you want to improve your accent, if you want to improve your listening comprehension, then these are the videos for you. They're very unique. You will not find other exercises like this on the internet. We are practicing with real life people who are trying to improve their listening comprehension and their accent through pronunciation, accentuation, and intonation. And if you want to do that, you can come along with us right now and you can watch these videos and practice with us. And if you would like to participate, just click on the link in the description to the Discord group. The first two people who volunteer once the video starts are the two people who get to practice with us on that day. And if you find these videos helpful, remember to press the like button and also subscribe. I need your help to grow my channel. It's a very unique channel. Well, now let's get started and let's improve our English accents and our listening comprehension for this section.
Okay, sir. The king's power was neutered. Yes, neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Okay, what does that mean to be neutered? Do you remember what that means?
Neutered means is a neuter, is a neutral.
Well, it comes from the same word as neutral, but do you remember that's like if you have an animal and you don't
Yes,
want them to make babies, so you
yes,
take the scissors and you snip snip.
yes.
Okay, but it's used a lot. That's really what it means. But it's used a lot to mean remove power, to remove the power of someone. So the king, what does it mean if you say that the king's power was neutered by the new constitution? What does that mean?
The king's power was taken away
That's right. That's
by
right.
the new.
Very common to use the word neuter in this way.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Alex, what are the first? Read up to neutered. Can you read the words up to the word neutered?
The king's power was neutered.
Okay. What are the important words in that phrase?
The king's power neutered.
Okay. King's power neutered. So kings, that's easy because it's just one syllable. But how about the word power? Power, that's two syllables.
Power.
Which syllable would
Power.
which syllable?
Power. Power.
Power.
Power. Power. Power.
Pow.
Power. Yeah. P-O. Power. Yeah.
And how about in neutered? Where's all of the sound in that word? Neutered.
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 Neutered. Yeah.
Neutered. Neutered. Okay.
Neutered. Yeah.
The king's power was neutered.
The king's power was neutered.
Okay. David, can you try to say that? The king's power was neutered.
The king's power was neutered.
Okay. And what are the next? Can you read up to Constitution? Read up to Constitution.
Yes, the king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
Which words are important in that phrase, by the new constitution?
New and constitution.
All right, so we'll make that new is easy because it's only one syllable. But when we get to the word constitution, which syllable has all of the focus, all of the power?
The first syllable, constitution.
That would be constitution. Is it constitution or is it constitution?
Constitution.
Where's all the power? Constitution. Constitution.
In the last syllable, constitution.
So it's constitution. Constitution.
Oh no, consti in the Second one, constitution.
So it's constitution. Poor David. It's two. It's the only one. It's the only one you didn't say.
Yes,
Listen, listen,
cons
listen. Constitution. Constitution.
to
You hear
the
it?
third syllable.
Can you hear it?
To the constitution.
That's really important. That's a really important thing to be aware of. Where do you place the emphasis? If you get that wrong, you could pronounce everything perfectly, and maybe the person won't understand the word that you're saying. So it's a really important thing. Okay. Can you say that? New constitution.
New constitution.
Okay. By the new constitution.
By the new constitution.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
Okay, but you notice one thing I would like you to notice is that when you get to these little valleys where there's these words are not important, these sounds are not important, it usually becomes like one word. This is you don't have to talk like that, but it's good for listening to people. So it's not neutered by the, but neutered by the. Neutered by the.
Neutered by the.
Neutered by the new constitution.
Neutered by the new constitution.
Same thing. The same thing happens here. The king's power was or was. That becomes like one word or was or was or was like that.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
Yeah, like that. Mm-hmm. Pachu, can you say new constitution?
The new constitution.
Mm-hmm. The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
What are the next three words, Pachu?
As leaving him only.
Which words are important in that phrase?
Is only and leaving.
Okay, now in leaving, where is all the power? Which syllable has all of the sound?
As first the leaving.
Leaving, leaving. How would you pronounce leaving plus him?
Leaving him.
Leaving him, leaving him.
Leaving him. Leaving him.
You're saying ving, you're saying leaving him, but it's leaving him.
Leaving him.
Like that, yeah. Leaving him, leaving him. Can you say
Leaving him.
leaving him? Okay. And then only, which syllable has all the power in the word only?
As first only.
Only.
O.
Only. Okay. So this sounds like leaving him only.
Leaving him only.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only.
The king's power was neutralized and
Neutered.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only.
Okay. Can you say that, Alex? Leaving him only. Leaving him only.
Leaving him only.
Okay. Leaving him only. What are the final two words, Alex?
Ceremonial duties.
Can you say that again, please?
Ceremonial duties.
How many syllables does that first word have?
Ceremonial 3.
Oh boy, I've got 5.
Ceremonial.
Ceremonial.
Yeah, sorry. I read it wrong. Ceremonial. Yeah, ceremonial. Yeah.
Well, first of all,
Yep.
one big problem that we have, or one big situation that we have, is that in the final one we have one syllable ni, and then we have another syllable ul.
Yeah.
how do you have to pronounce that? If one syllable finishes with a vowel sound and the next syllable starts with a vowel sound, how should you pronounce it?
The last sound we repeated. We repeat the last one. Ceremonial.
Yeah, so you have to double the e in knee and say ceremonial,
Ceremonial.
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 But
Ceremonial. Yeah.
when I say that word ceremonial, which syllable has all of the sound? Ceremonial.
Monial.
Mo
Yeah. Monial.
mo. So we've got two
Monial.
tricky things in here. We've got we've got the situation where we have to add an extra sound, neo, but then we have the accented syllable mo, ceremonial,
Monial. Okay.
monial. Can you try to say that?
Ceremon. Ceremonial.
Sarah, Sarah, Sarah,
Ceremonial. Yeah.
ceremonial.
Ceremonial.
And then we have
Ceremonial
duties.
duties.
Which syllable has all of the sound?
Duties. Duties. Teas. Du.
That would be
Duties.
that would be duties. Duties. Is it duties or duties?
Duties.
One.
Duties. Yeah. So you.
Duties. Duties.
Duties.
Du-
Duties.
ceremonial duties.
Ceremonial duties.
Leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Leaving only ceremonial duties.
Ceremonial duties. Say that again.
Ceremonial duties.
Okay. The king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
The king's power was muted by the new constitution, leaving only ceremonial duties.
Pacho, can you try that? Ceremonial duties.
Ceremonial duties.
Leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Leaving only ceremonial
The
duties.
king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Mr. David, can you say ceremonial duties?
Ceremonials duties.
Okay, but you know, in English, adjectives never are plural, and ceremonial is.
Ceremonial
Go ahead. What?
duty.
No,
Ceremonial duties.
an adjective is a description, and duties is a noun, and ceremonial describes what kind of duties? Ceremonial duties. So ceremonial is an adjective giving us more information about the kind of duties that it has. And it's never plural. That situation is never plural in English. So duties is okay, but you cannot put an S after ceremonial.
Okay, ceremonial duties.
Like that. Ceremonial duties. Say it again.
Ceremonial duties.
Can you say leaving him only?
Leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Mm-hmm. And him, it's not really emphasized, so a lot of times it just becomes part of the word in front of it. Leaving him, leaving him.
Leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Yeah, but and this is mostly for listening. It's perfectly fine to say leaving him. That's better. It's preferable. But it's just so that you're aware that when people are talking, they probably will put it into one word and there will be no H. It will be leaving Gim. Gim.
Okay.
Leaving him.
Leaving him.
Yep. Can you say Gim? Gim?
Gim.
Leaving him.
Gim. Leaving him.
Yeah, like that. Leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Leaving him only ceremonial
The
duties.
king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution, leaving him only ceremonial duties.
Okay, David, can you make a how they neuter king question?
The question,
Yeah,
uh,
How they knew the
Mm,
king.
oh, I don't know what
Okay,
what.
how I don't want to give you the full sentence because I want you to think about how to make the question. So here's the basic information. How they neuter king.
Okay,
How will you make a question with those words? With a complete sentence. I don't want to help you. I want you to think about it.
how they neuter the king's power?
Okay, but you have to use the question form. If you're making a question, you have to use the question form. Do you know how to?
Mhm.
How would you make the question?
How did they neuter the king's power?
Okay, that's right. That's right. Can you say that again, please?
How did they neuter the king's power?
Most important words in your question.
Um, neuter.
Okay. Only neuter, is that the only important word? And how did they neuter the king's power? Is that the only important word?
No, king and power is also important.
I think the word how is important because
Oh,
your question,
yes, the question.
that's maybe the most important word in your question is how, right? Do you agree?
Yes, yes. In this case, because I'm building a question.
Okay. So if how is important, you want to exaggerate it. You want to make it longer. How? Make it very long. How?
How?
Okay.
How did they neuter the king's power?
All right. And how would you so and did and they, those are not really important words. So they sound very small. How did they? How did they?
How did they?
How did they neuter?
How did they neuter the king's power?
Kings, let's exaggerate the important words. Let's whenever we have a syllable with a lot of power in an important word, let's make it longer and bigger. How did they neuter the king's power?
How did they neuter the king's power?
Yes, that's a very typical rhythm. That's a rhythm in English that happens. And that's a way because I think actually your English is really good. But if you find this rhythm, that will take you to a different level. Sort of a big, small, big, small, big, small rhythm. How did they neuter the king's power?
How did they neuter king's power?
hmm And what is the answer?
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
That's right. Pachu, well, wait, I have to. Pachu, how did they neuter the king's power? Can you make that question?
How did they neuter the king's power?
How did they neuter the king's power? What is the answer, Pachu?
The king's power was neutered by the new constitution.
Okay. And finally, Alex, can you make the question?
How did they neuter the king's power?
What is the answer?
They neutered the king's power with the new constitution
All right, perfect.
or by the new constitution.
Okay, now we're going to change to comic book pronunciations.